Well, a very good afternoon. Thanks for clicking on to the Wednesday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. The beast from the east is most certainly gone, but in saying that, the residual effects of that sudden stratospheric warming, I think, is going to continue to rule the remainder of March and possibly even a good chunk of April as well. After the release of that billowy cold air into the mid latitudes, we of course seen the reversal in the upper winds to easterly rather than westerly, and of course we've seen most likely the coldest end to a February and beginning to March on record. Um, just incredible to see temperatures on the 20th of February with the sun angle as high as it is, to see the temperature hold at -3 and 4 with a wind chill -10 to -12 throughout the course of the daylight hours. You just simply don't see that. So it really will be something that will be remembered for a very long time. Things are pretty much back to normal now, playing catch up with deliveries, roads getting unblocked by snow. But it's pretty much getting back to normal now. It has taken some time, but we certainly are now getting there. As we go through the remainder of this work week, low pressure is going to be very much the dominant factor. The NAO was so negative that we do have the return of the westerlies once again, and the Atlantic systems coming in, but of course the negative NAO is still in place. Lots of cold air within the mid latitudes of the within the mid latitude region. So what's essentially happening is we've got cold air coming in from the west, and it's basically rotating the cold air in across, particularly Scotland. We are seeing milder air getting lifted into the southern fringes of the British Isles and up into the Midlands, but what we'll even see today, later today and into tonight, is precipitation. That residual cold air in place still. We're seeing that rain changing over to snow, possibly even down to lower levels as well. We're also seeing snowfall, particularly across higher ground, but even down to lower levels across Scotland as well. And I think that is going to be the ongoing threat as we go through the remainder of not just this week, but potentially in the next week as well, because these areas of low pressure coming in, they're bumping into that cold air. That cold air isn't going anywhere, and essentially we're seeing the rain changing over to snow. So last week, forget about that. That is completely out of the ordinary, something we will not repeat. So let's just make that very clear, instead of people maybe taking the wrong end of the stick here and getting excited, getting hyped up, thinking that we're going to get the same again. We're not. We're going to have snowfall potentially, yes, but it will not stick around. The sun angle far too high now, but we may still see accumulating snow. That is quite a possibility as well. So there's a lot of things on the table here as we go through the remainder of March and even into April. The models are suggesting that while it's not extreme cold, we are holding on to a colder than normal pattern, and that is the after effects, the fallout, if you will, from the sudden stratospheric warming that took place back in mid-February. So winter isn't necessarily done yet. The worst of winter is done, yes, but don't rule out snow, don't rule out cold, especially by night time through the remainder of March and into April. We do get frost in the April every year pretty much. Once we come into May, that becomes a little bit less. But back during March 2013, which of course was the coldest in 62, I remember the very, very beginning of May, there wasn't any foliage in the trees because it was such a cold spring. Are we going to repeat that this year? That remains to be seen. Hope you have a great day, and I'll be back in the next couple of days with more. Bye for now.